So then, why does restarting feel so hard? Because it seems simple enough, right? You just fix your environment, or you go back to
Just do
where
it.
where that habit did initiate, or that mental state where you did. So I guess, so why does it feel so difficult just starting?
I'll tell you, Arena, why it feels so
Worry.
difficult. I will. It's because you've got that added cognitive load now. So, in order to restart it, your brain has to think, like, your brain has to plan it basically. Then you has to decide, evaluate, initiate. As I like mentally exhausting. Like, it's easy to.
It's no longer automatic.
Yeah.
It's like going back to driving a manual car. There's more to think about.
Yeah, basically. So it's just more mentally exhausting.
Yeah. And it takes up more space. You have more to think about. It no longer becomes easy to do because you're then having to retrain yourself.
Make more decisions. Yes. Don't know about you guys, I can't make a decision to save my life. And basically, so because we already established that habits basically exist to conserve your energy, take less energy, make your day more efficient, take off the mental load of this. So when habits disappear, effort returns.
Da, da, da.
Why does a simple session then suddenly feel so heavy after some time off?
I mean, you're thinking a lot more.
This is more of a discussion, not like a review. Let's say.
Well, okay, so if I'm coming back from a holiday, I've not trained as much.
Yeah. Why is your first session so hard back? Aside from the fact that, like, maybe you've, like,
aside from the actual physical.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, coming back from a holiday, it's like, I think it's more so, I feel like I've lost progress and I don't want to face the music. I don't want to feel like I'm starting again. But it's not starting again. Yes, you might have degressed a bit over holidays, but it's more so having to then go back into that routine. That first day is so like.
But then that's exactly tricky. The thing. You're then reevaluating your whole workout plan. Your whole, like, is this even working? Should I do something differently? Because you feel, just because your body feels different.
Yeah.
So that's like the kind of mental exhaustion, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. It's more so
because, like, sorry,
no,
let's just say you've taken a week off and then you come back to your session, you look at your plan and you see, okay, I've got this session. You're doing your session and it's feeling way harder, obviously, because you just had a week break. But then your mind is probably thinking, why is this so difficult for me? Do I need to change everything? Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. Rather than just doing it and accepting it and just doing it again the next session. Because then you just lose motivation and maybe you won't go back to the gym the next day like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you think that's why people sort of delay restarting their routine, even though you know that the quickest way to get back on track is to actually do the thing?
Yeah, I think it's just more about demotivation, or like thinking, oh, okay, I'll ease myself back into my routine, but then it's like you're missing some crucial habits that you've already built. And it's just going to take slower, and then you'll realize, like, oh, you can live without those habits. Yeah, they may not be adding more value to your life, but you realize that, oh yeah, I'll be fine without them, and then you just don't do them again.
Yeah, because then you've built the habit to not do it.
Yeah.
Like you've built a counter habit.
Yeah.
Because the same
like
cue that you would have gone to do it is now related to not doing it.
Yeah, because let's say, for example, before you got into the habit of reading half an hour before bed, And then as you come back, you're like, oh, I'll just ease into those habits, maybe do like whatever, but I won't read today, I'll watch TV. And then you say that the next day and the next day, and now instead of reading,
you're watching TV.
You're in a habit of watching TV.
Yeah. So this moves quite well. Well done, Agnesa. Round of applause for smooth transition.
Thanks.
Just made it less smooth. So then that goes on to
real smooth transitions.
No, I just lost my train of thought. That's such a good way of transitioning it. So this is why then smaller actions matter way more than bigger ones. For example, if you felt like you didn't want to read that day, you could just literally pick up your book, open it, read a page and put it down, and that's still building that habit of I'm gonna pick up my book and read a bit before bed. And this is because habit formation actually depends on repetition in that context, whether that's a time or a place, rather than the intensity, the difficulty, or the perfection of the habit. And that repetition is what strengthens that cue to behavior loop, rather than anything else you might think. For example, it's the same with a workout. You might think that you need to do a really, really big workout to get into the routine of going to the gym. Like a workout has to be massive, but no, like going for a walk or doing jumping jacks to get your body used to that prime to get into the working out.
Yeah. So basically, it's more about how frequently you do it rather than the effort it takes you to do that.
Exactly.
And then obviously once you're in the habit of doing it, you can
build it up then.
Yeah.
1% better every day. Atomic Habits. Yeah. We'll forever talk about that book because that's kind of what James talks about. Like Mr. Clear talks about. James Clear, that's his name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Habit stacking, yeah. So 1% better. For example, you pick up the book, you read then one page, one line the next day. It doesn't have to be 2 pages because that's increasing your workload by 200%.
Yeah, that's crazy because imagine like calculating the number of lines you have to read.
Well, no, don't. That's too much cognitive load.
In theory,
you don't have to do that much more. It could literally be like an extra rep in the gym, and slowly build that, because a slower timeline of things is actually just going to build you more consistent, because it's that repetition that strengthens that loop, and that missing it weakens the loop. So do you think then, with that being said, people overvalue like good long sessions of anything, whether that's reading, training, running, whatever, studying, rather than the consistent ones?
For sure. Yeah, because let's say you study for like 8 hours a day and you think, oh, that's great, like what a good thing, but then you don't do it for the rest of the week, then it's like, okay, maybe then you could study for 2 hours a day but do it every single day for a week, and then you've studied 14 hours a week instead of 8. So for sure, I think obviously it's good to have good sessions, but prioritizing the consistency of those sessions over necessarily like perfecting the session itself. Obviously, I would say do everything to the best of your quality. Like, let's say it is studying. Obviously, you're not gonna like just sit there and hardly like flick through whatever you actually need to study, but
prioritize that repetition and that consistency over the intensity of it.
Yeah. So then, do you think intensity in a way is actually slowing people down long term?
I think so. I think having that, like when you finish a hard session, your mind thinks, you obviously get the endorphin, the dopamine, whatever you're getting, whatever you're doing, but the session itself, if it's like 3 hours long, you're then like, oh, I don't really want to have to do that again tomorrow because that was exhausting. So then you're more likely to then weaken the loop because you're less likely to do a intense 3 hour session the next day.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a two-sided coin. Is that the expression? Anyway, regardless, because maybe more so, again, it's like about quality over quantity as well, because intensity can be good in some ways, but I suppose we're talking about intensity in a different sense.
Yeah, it's less so the quality, because intensity regarding like the quantity of what you're doing in that session,
Yeah.
not the quality of what you're doing.
Okay, yeah. No, otherwise I agree with you. I strongly believe in doing everything like intensely, as in the highest quality.
Intentionally.
Yeah,
Rather than
but also
intensely.
Also intensely in a way, just quality.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more so intention than it is intensity.
Perhaps, yeah. Maybe that's where I'm getting confused. But yeah, I agree with you that in the long run, it's maybe pushing you back rather than doing things more consistently, which leads us on to the next question, which is, what would you say is more powerful? 10 perfect workouts or 50 average ones? Let's say in the same time period.
I don't know about you, but I've never had a perfect workout.
I've had pretty good ones.
They've been pretty good, but I don't think it's never been like perfect. But if I did have one, it'd still be 50 average ones, because that's where you're making that progress. That's where you're going to see that progress over time, because those 10 perfect ones could be once every 2 months. You have a perfect workout, but you're not working out the rest. Whereas like you work out once every week, and although you should probably work out more, but if that's all you have time for, then you're going to see way more progress than if you went once a month, because your muscles are just going to, once every 2 months, your muscles are just going to atrophy at that point.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like if we were to put it in the context of like timing wise, say you had 10 perfect 3-hour workouts or 50 average 1-hour workouts or even 40-minute workouts, that would still equate to more.
Yeah, I agree.